So I got to give a shout out to Chris of 3C Films and 3C Films Clips, because on one of his channels, he uploaded a clip from a recent live stream he did, where a fan asked him if he heard about the news that in some of the UK and European countries, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was being listed as a possible PG-12 rating, which is the equivalent of a PG-13 hard PG. And he said he did. And he did explain why he wouldn't be against it and why he feels it might lean itself in that direction. And honestly, hearing about that myself, along with other Sonic fans possibly, I tend to agree somewhat with Chris. But mostly because of the fact that if you're loosely adapting Sonic Adventure 2, which Shadow debuted in, and his origin story that also showed up in Sonic Adventure 2, the flashback and everything with Maria, and how dark it is, then obviously you have to go that route. You have to go the route that basically requires PG-13 to be applied to your movie. And also, they're going to take elements from the Shadow game, which I don't know if they will or not, that also would require PG-13. But will they do it? Will Paramount and Sega, mostly Sega, say, yeah, go ahead, make it PG-13? That's up to them. We do know that stories, as they progress over time, stories in movie franchises, sequel after sequel after sequel, they will basically, age up the rating. They will hike the rating up, if you will, to attract a bigger audience. Because the higher the rating, the stronger the rating, the more attractive that is nowadays to people, to a lot of people, that, to entice them to go and see the movie on the big screen. And, we look at various examples, like let's say the Harry Potter series. The Harry Potter series started out, under the rating of just PG. And it did so for at least, about six of the movies. And then it got to the final ones, it went into PG-13. Even one of them at one point was even considered for an R rating before they kind of cut some things back to maintain a PG-13. So yeah, the first 6 or 5 movies were PG, and then the last ones were PG-13, was possibly one of them almost on the verge of R. And, it's not surprising that they did that because, of course, the stories that they were adapting were a lot, darker. The main cast of characters were getting older, so you had to basically focus them into an environment or put them into an environment that required, a more mature setting, a more mature tone. And when I look at Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and the fact that they are loosely adapting Sonic Adventure 2, possibly throwing some elements in there from the Shadow game, and the fact that Sonic Adventure 2 had that origin story for Shadow, which is very dark, in its own right, I would not be against it. I would not be against them going this route by, upping the rating to PG-13 because, as I said, elements like that, Shadow's origin and everything, the darkness behind that, the elements they could throw in from the Shadow game and, loosely adapting Sonic Adventure 2, definitely would require a PG-13 rating. There's no doubt. Especially if you're going to bring the Bio-Lizard, which is like the main final boss and everything, into the picture. Yeah, there's no doubt that a PG-13 rating would have to be required. But again, would Sega and Paramount allow it? We don't know. We don't know if they would allow it or not. It's totally up to them. Sega might say, look, we get you want to aim for a PG-13 rating, Paramount, but, this is Sonic the Hedgehog, all ages, family franchise. You need to tone it down a little bit to make it PG still. And Paramount might do that. They might say, okay, fine, no problem. And they might cut back. There might be certain elements that, they want to put in there that we expect them to put in there. And they're going to have to tone it down, saying, hey, it's not going to be as, dark or as violent as you thought it would be because, Sega said, no, you got to tone it down. But again, we'll see. We'll have to see what they decide to do. I mean, right now, this is just, being talked about because of a report that came out slating from another country in region, that Sonic 3 is being put under consideration for what is considered their equivalent of PG-13. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens here in the U.S. because the MPA is a lot more different than the MPs, the motion picture associations of other countries. Ours will look at something and say, okay, that's more PG, or oh, that definitely requires an R, or oh, that's definitely PG-13 and whatever. That's up to them. That's up to them and everything, to consider whether or not that rating is, necessary for the movie. And if Sega decides, yeah, we know you want to do PG-13, but we like it to remain PG, then it's going to remain PG because certain things will be toned down to the point that when it gets presented in front of the MPA and everything, they'll say, yeah, that's a PG movie, there you go. But we'll find out as the year goes on. Remember, the year just started. It's like January 11th now, and today's like the debut of the final season, or not final season, the second half, I should say, or final part, whatever it is, the third part of Sonic Prime. The third part of Sonic Prime. So yeah, we'll find out over time exactly what we're in store for. Maybe the Knuckles series, when it debuts on Paramount, which I think it's supposed to reportedly get a trailer maybe during the Super Bowl this year, hopefully we'll get more information then, about maybe the direction it's going to go in, because the Knuckles series is supposed to be like a buddy cop comedy kind of thing, or adventure comedy, but we also know those buddy cop adventure comedies can get a little serious, or at least give a little bit of a hint of what we're in store for what it's connected to. So maybe we'll find out when that comes out exactly by some of the elements showcased there, where we'll be heading, when it comes to the movie in its tone. But that's just my opinion. But what do you guys think? Do you think just because this one report, from, the UK European regions, where they state that Sonic 3 is possibly heading for a PG-12, the equivalent of PG-13 rating, do you think that also do you think also that means, I should say, it's early, I do apologize when I'm recording this, do you think that also means basically that, Sonic 3 here in the US will get a PG-13 rating, or do you think maybe we'll still be with the PG rating when it's all said and done? What are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments, as well as in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you feel about this, and until then, I'm out.